Hi YouTube, we're back with another video on the channel, and this one is for the Ford 7.3 IDI non-turbo injector unthreading or braking in the head. It's not technically braking, but it's definitely a pain in the ass nonetheless. So I'm going to go over two methods to get this out if the first one does not work. So I was doing injectors on this. I did 7 of them, no issues. And then, of course, the final one, and probably the most awkward one, decided to unthread in the head. So this is what you'll pull out when that happens. You'll see that you have half of injector, and this is what a full injector looks like. You could see, what we're dealing with here. You could see that part is threaded, as you can see. So this will actually thread into this cup type thing here, which is what it looks like combined right here. So what oftentimes happens is there's a bad copper washer seal, or in this case of mine, there wasn't even a copper washer at all, and there's none in the head either. I've double confirmed that, so that was my issue. But that is usually what the issue is there's a bad seal. All this carbon comes up here from the combustion, and it will lock this cup in place. So when you unthread this injector from the cylinder head, it will just spin out the cup as well. And when that happens, you will have a few pieces in your block or in your head, just like this little piece, these little kind of needle bearing type things. We have a few more washer type things inside the cup as well. Don't fret, those aren't going to fall down into your cylinder unless you've taken the cup out, which obviously you haven't because it's stuck in there. So all you got to do is just take a little magnet tool and stick that down, and they'll come right out, and you'll have no issues there. Those washers, sometimes they do come out, sometimes they don't. You don't have to take them out to do either method that I'm going to show you here. So once you got all those little crap pieces out, all you got to do now is, this is method number 1. This is what you see on YouTube all the time for these extractions, is this method right here. And most times it works. I'm not dissing this method at all, but sometimes it does not. So we will show you a second method if this one fails. So you're just going to grind off what those threads right there, that's what actually locks the injector into the head. You're going to grind those right off till it's nice like this. And then you'll see you still have these threads here on the injector, and that hypothetically you should be able to guide that down into the head, and then thread it back on to this cup, and then pull, and it should come right out. However, sometimes you're not always that lucky. It does not always work that way. I could not thread this on at all. I couldn't get it to start even initially. So I guess the threads got messed up or something, or it was very carbony down there. This is the one I pulled out. It was pretty bad. So it's probably what happened. So this was a failure for me. So it did not work. So the second method I did was I took apart a second injector. So kept the threads on it this time, and I wrenched it down with some red Loctite. Kind of see some remnants of it on there, and it's got it really tight with a breaker bar. And then I unthreaded it like about a day later after it cured, and I was not successful there either. That did not work as well. So at that point I was getting a little bit pissed off with it. So I did end up taking this injector back into the head, and then I took the impact to it, and I just got it really tight, and not tight enough to strip the threads, obviously, but it was just a very hammer impact force. And then I unthreaded it with a wrench after that, or a breaker bar at that point, because it was pretty tight. So I did not get it out with that method either. However, I stuck my finger down there after that, and I was obviously playing with it too with the little scope thing too. and I could feel that it was broken loose from the carbon. I could move it with my finger and I could sort of pull it up. So at that point, it was broken free from the carbon with that little impact method. So that's the first thing you're gonna do, is you're gonna screw this back into the head and just tighten it with an impact. Don't strip the threads, don't get it super, super tight, but just back and forth with the impact a few times, just making that impact force on the cup. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna feel if it moves or not with your finger. You're gonna get your finger up in here. You can kind of get your finger up in the ridge of it. Just see if it moves from side to side, back and forth. And if it moves, you're golden to start the next step. And the next step was to buy a pulley or a pilot bearing puller set from Amazon. So I was looking for what puller I could use to get me out of this bind, and I found this set on Amazon. It was a set of 5 for $50. I'll put a link in the description below. It's fine for you just using it like this, obviously. I mean, it's probably pretty cheap, but it did come with 5 of them, and there's definitely a few sizes in there that will get the pilot bearing out of your truck if you ever needed it. So nice tool to have in the toolbox. And what these do is, you can see they've got these little prongs here, and what happens if you spin, let me just do this real quick with the camera. You could spin it, you could see how it's collapsed there, and you could thread that right into this cup here. Obviously this isn't the right size. The right size is actually in the cup I took out, so do this the best I can. Just put it in there like so. Might have to tap on it with a hammer a little bit, and then wrench it to where these little prong things expand and are latched on to your injector. Then you'll pray. You can just pull it out as I did, and it'll come out. And mine did on the second try. First try did not work, but the second try did. As you could see, it totally took out the cup, and we don't have an issue anymore. I've confirmed now with my scope that since this didn't have a copper washer on it, I thought it would be down in there still, but it is definitely not down there. So this did not have a copper washer on it, which led to this issue. So I hope that does help some of you, because that was about a week of playing around with this and getting frustrated and back and forth and all that. So hopefully this saves you a little bit of trouble, and if it does, leave a like and a comment, and be sure to watch my other videos of me turboing this engine as well. So with that, guys, peace out.